Hi, everyone, and welcome to Easy and Fun Preschool Weekly um, uh, a guest, I suppose. And today we have a really fun guest. His name is Chef Kibby, and he is here to talk about foods. And I know as a preschool teacher and working with a lot of families, a lot of times we sit around and we wonder, how do we keep our kids occupied while we're cooking dinner or making snack? And a great thing to do is to include them in our meal prep. And Chef Kibby is here to kind of give us some ideas on how to do that. So if you want to take it away, Chef Kibby.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be on your program. It really means a lot to me because as a chef and a dad, I'm dealing with all the issues and struggles that everybody else is facing right now too. I mean, yes, I am a professional chef and I've been in the food service industry for 25 years now. I'm a culinary instructor at Columbus State Community College, which is one of the Midwest's top culinary arts programs. I also do hands-on kitchen sessions right here in my hometown of Marysville, Ohio, the sprawling metropolis of Marysville,
Yes.
where the grass is always greener.
Right.
Because the Scott's Miracle Grow headquarters are right here in Marysville. So that's why the grass is greener. But anyway, suffice to say, yes, I have a lot of experience in the industry and I'm a professional chef and a culinary arts instructor, but I'm also a biological foster and adoptive dad. And as with many of you parents out there, my life has been disrupted. It's been a challenge. It's been tough. Having all the kiddos home from school is a blessing and a challenge at the same time. And with this pattern disruption that I'm sure all of you are facing right now as well, it can be a real downer, but I really do see this as a genuine opportunity for all of us families, especially those of us who really love and care about our kiddos and want to create really strong and meaningful attachments with our families. And I see this as a great opportunity for us parents to take advantage of this time and invite our kiddos into the kitchen, like we were just talking about. That can be really uncomfortable for a lot of parents, for a lot of folks that normally aren't comfortable in the kitchen to begin with, let alone trying to invite a little one into the kitchen as well. And I really feel like that's where I can come in because I've been very blessed to be someone who is, confident and comfortable being around the kitchen, and inviting others into the kitchen isn't a problem for me. And so that's why my business exists. That's why Cookin with Kibby exists, not just here locally in Marysville, but on the web at cookinwithkibby.com. And I know you've already shared the link with all the folks that are watching both live and on the replay so that you can check out more information about me.
Yes, and if you guys are watching live and you have questions, ask away. Kibby's on here. He's generously donated his time, even though it's 9:30 on the East Coast, to be here with us in his professional kitchen.
Yeah, it is really late out here. That's why I'm here at my kitchen, because if I were at my house right now, we have a 4-generation household, and hopefully I know when I left, my wife was still getting some of the kiddos to sleep, but there would be no way I could have this sort of conversation with you right now from our home. Not only is the internet really terrible out there in the sticks, but chances are we would have some interruptions. So, thankfully I do have the studio here, which of course right now is empty, but we're taking good advantage of it right now so that I can be here for all of you and be a support and encouragement to all of you that not only want to have a healthy life as far as cooking and eating is concerned, but as I've mentioned in recent episodes of my podcast and on my blog, cooking with our kiddos is kind of a language that we can use to speak to our kids, to speak to them love and care and value and acceptance, not only as a way of and also just teaching them some really practical life skills as well. And when we talk about life skills, one of the first things I think about in the kitchen is knife skills. And so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. One of the most critical life skills that you can have as far as the kitchen goes is how to use one of these, is how to use a kitchen knife.
Yes.
And
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 that's a good knife for preschoolers.
oh, absolutely. It's never too early to teach preschoolers how to use a knife, because if there's one thing I've learned in all of my years of experience, not only teaching hands-on kitchen sessions to kiddos, but also, training other professional culinarians and coworkers, is that it's a lot, and I've experienced this as a dad as well. It's a lot easier to teach somebody the right way the first time than it is to try and undo some bad learning or bad teaching or just bad habits that people have picked up. And so the sooner you can teach someone how to safely and effectively handle a kitchen knife, the better. Now, I know what you folks are thinking. Chef Kibby, do you put chef's knives in the hands of your 2-year-old? Absolutely not. That is not what I'm advocating. However, I do have a little trick up my sleeve here. Or should I say under my table?
Right.
So this right here, show of hands, everybody who's familiar with Melissa and Doug toys. I mean, hello. If you have kids, if you have preschoolers, you know about Melissa and Doug. All those wooden puzzles, right?
Yes.
I have a few of those lying around. Maybe some of them are missing a piece or two. I know this one. We got this for Christmas, and there's already a piece of cucumber missing. But that's part of life. But anyway, this is a set that we actually got. This was a Christmas present that I received from some family members for my kiddos, because we're all about food and cooking in our home. And so what a cool little gift this would be. So these are different fruits and vegetables, and it even comes with a cute little wooden cutting board. I mean, it's not an end grain cutting board, but it works for kids. But so it comes with a little cutting board, and it comes with all these different shapes of different fruits and vegetables and breads, and a chef knife. We'll get to that here in a second. But the cool thing about this toy, excuse me, is not only is it really cool that you have this teaching tool that you can teach them about different fruits and vegetables. Like you have, we have apples, we have carrots, we have watermelon, we have cucumber. I think it's missing a slice of cucumber, but it's, and we have toddlers. We all know about that.
Kitchen. I have a lot of parents ask me all the time, my kids don't want to try new foods. It's really hard for them they're really picky. And this is just the best way, even if it's play food, to have them playing with you while you're preparing the real food, to introduce them to all these new things. And I think that is one perfect answer for a lot of these questions is play.
Yes, play is a great idea. Yes. Yeah, it's never too early to introduce kiddos to different types of food and different types of cooking. And I think that's a great idea of using this toy as a tool to invite them into the kitchen so that they can have some playtime and kind of pretend to be like mom or dad while they're doing their thing, being the chef in the kitchen. And in fact, that was the one of the pictures that I posted onto my Instagram account just earlier this evening was a couple of pictures of some things that my kiddos were doing. The other day when I was prepping some vegetables in my kitchen, one of my kiddos came up to me and said, "Well, Daddy, can I have the scraps? The pieces that I cut off of the zucchini or the peppers or whatever." And my first answer was, "Well, kiddo, this is garbage. This is going in the compost bin. Why would you want that?" But then I realized, well, if it's going into the compost bin anyway, what's the harm? Right. So I gave them a little cutting board, just a plain butter knife out of the silverware drawer, and let them have at it. And it was so rewarding. I'm so glad that I said yes. Rarely have I regretted saying no to my kiddos when it comes to being in the kitchen, because even if they are trying to do something productive, whether it be mixing a batter or scrubbing potatoes or even just washing dishes or setting the table, even if they don't do it to my, high level of chef experience, who cares? Big deal. The end game is not culinary perfection. The end game is stronger relationships with our kids. That's what we all want. And again, I just feel very blessed that I'm able to speak that language into my kids, and that I have the comfort and the confidence to be able to invite them in and to teach them the ropes, if you will. And for those parents that aren't very comfortable or confident in the kitchen, this is a great toy and a great tool that they can use. Not to mention the fact that there's all sorts of other things you can do with it. I mean, you can do counting. I mean, an apple has two sides to it, as does the carrot has two pieces. The tomato-ish thing has 1, 2, 3. And then the cucumber used to have 4, but now only has 3. Bad example. The watermelon has 4 pieces, and then the loaf of French bread has 5 pieces. And so you can talk about colors. You have yellow, orange, red, and green. You can talk about numbers. You can talk about fractions. Even if you're starting to get into that higher, 5, 6, 7-year-old range, you can start talking about whole versus half. Kind of cool.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you something. Oh, hold on, I gotta get it real quick. I don't know if you've seen this before.
See, I'm not the only one with toys hanging around in my office, am I?
I have a basket here, right? I have a basket here, but it's also a similar kind of company, but they're peeling ones. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't. Show me.
And you peel. And they're Velcro. So like the lettuce,
cool.
And
a little habit of cabbage.
Corn. Whoops, the corn you peel off.
Nice.
So neat. So there's and then you put it back together like a puzzle. So
that is really cool.
There's a whole bunch of different ones in here.
Nice. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Now, you mentioned Velcro, which is another cool thing about these toys, is that they are Velcroed together. And what's really cool is that when you're a kiddo and you're cutting through these toys, because of the Velcro, at least when they were brand new, after you use it as much as my kiddos have, the Velcro doesn't quite stick as much as it used to. But anyway, when you have to put your knife kind of in between the pre-made slice in the fruit or vegetable and kind of pushing your knife through the Velcro. It's actually it's kind of a satisfying feeling. It actually feels like you're cutting through the vegetable. And even then, when you have to put a little effort into it, you get that nice chopping sound when you hit the cutting board. So it does kind of get them into the thought of what it's like to actually cut fruits and vegetables and loaves of bread. I have a 2-year-old that just loves to go in there and she'll just chop this loaf of bread over and over again and just kind of put the pieces back together and chop. And it sounds like you're chopping bread, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's really cool.
So for little kids, is there a specific way that you want to introduce them to the knife? I know you talked about that a little bit earlier. Yeah.
Now that is the coolest thing about this toy, at least for me as a professional chef and someone who really feels like it's important knowing how to safely handle a knife using my patented pencil grip and bear claw hand positions. So let's say I was teaching an adult how to handle this kitchen knife. The pencil grip involves taking the spine of the knife and taking your pinching fingers and making like a pencil grip on either side of the blade. Okay, you can see that. And then you actually wrap the rest of your fingers around the handle like so. So you're getting a good grip. And as opposed to handling it like a sword or something, you actually have pressure being applied to either side of the blade when you're doing the pencil grip. And so when you have it down on your cutting board, it makes it easier to be able to direct it and keep it perpendicular to the cutting board. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah.
What's cool about this knife is that it has that same spine to it. It has kind of a bolster like a normal chef's knife does.
Right.
And there's a definite, change between the handle and the knife. And so even a 2 or 3-year-old could practice that pencil grip, gripping it on either side, and then curling their fingertips around and cutting like you would using a chef's knife.
Right.
And when I first realized that, I totally geeked out about it because I could be teaching my toddlers how to handle safely and effectively a kitchen knife without them being close to any of these sharp blades. And for me as a dad who wants all of my kids to keep all of their digits, that is such a huge bonus. And I don't know if okay, I'm going to say this. No offense to Melissa and Doug, but I can tell by the pictures that they have of the kids using the product that they weren't necessarily intending this to be teaching them the proper handling, because none of the kids in their pictures are holding it the right way. But, Maybe
Yeah.
I'll tell them about that. They have
Oh,
the kind of the finger on top of the spine here, which if you want to put a lot of pressure on your index finger, you do that. But again, you don't have the control. But yeah, I just think it's really neat that we have this opportunity as parents, not only to teach about fruits and vegetables and numbers and fractions
yeah.
and about cutting food, but we can already get them into the habits as early as 2 or 3 years old of
Right.
how to safely and effectively handle a kitchen knife.
Right.
So
Right.
go out and get
So
you
if a
some.
parent doesn't have that, say we're at a preschool and we want to do cutting activity with a bunch of kids for center time.
Uh-huh.
Can we teach them those skills with like a plastic knife?
Yes, you could. You could teach it on a plastic knife or even a table knife. The problem with that is, though, I don't think I have one right here in front of me. I could probably grab one here. But your typical table knife doesn't have a heel to it. So
Right.
what's really unique about this knife and also with this one is that you have a heel, which just like the heel of your foot sticks down and then juts out.
Right. Right.
So that when you put your fingers around the handle,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to get full contact with the cutting board and not
Right.
bash your knuckles.
Okay.
Whereas if you're using just a straight table knife or a butter knife or something like that, everything is kind of flush, and so you don't necessarily get that full motion. But
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to say that you can't start teaching them that
Well, I'm thinking
with
a lot
a
of
plastic
times
knife.
you have kids with snack time. Sometimes it's nice if we have bananas. The kids can all sit around
Yes.
the table
Mm-hmm.
together and use a plastic knife and cut
Mm-hmm.
their little bananas.
Yeah. Absolutely, definitely. It's never too early to get them, forming those good habits. Because
Yeah.
even as adults, it can be a little bit uncomfortable or unusual to hold a knife this way. A lot of people just
Right.
kind of grip it and like a
Right.
sword, and you don't have any control over which direction that blade is going when you do
That's
so.
true. Very
So,
true.
so the sooner you can teach them the right way, the easier it
Yeah.
is to get them into that good habit.
Perfect.
So, and I included this on the link that you've already shared with the folks
Yes.
that are watching at home.
Yeah.
On that webpage from cookinwithkibby.com/preschool, I have a link to this product where you can find it on Amazon. It's really inexpensive. And
Yeah.
again, it's just a great toy to have around.
Yeah. We use them in
We
our
love it.
preschool. Yeah, and in preschool, what I do is put it in the kitchen in the pretend play area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they take it out and chop up their things. It's very fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Oh, I see you have real food.
Any questions? I do tend to have some real food around every now and then as well. So, what do I have in front of me? I don't know if my camera can pick it up pretty well. I've got the camera so far away so you can see everything that's going on here. I have a couple of dishes of something that I always keep in my pantry and that makes for good eating with my kiddos, and these are oats. So I love me some oats.
Mm-hmm.
Oatmeal is a wonderful thing, and oats are one of those great things to have stocked in your kitchen pantry, especially for times like this when we don't know when the next time it is we're going to be going to the grocery store. I know this has been the first time in my adult life that I've utilized a delivery service to have somebody else do the shopping for me. I love grocery shopping. I'm not going to lie. I love grocery shopping. I love being able to see the fresh produce and just picking things out for myself. Not to mention the social aspect of it.
Right.
Marysville is a small town, and I tend to run into somebody I know every time I go to the grocery store. So I enjoy that. But needless to say, this is a good time to be more mindful of some of those things that we can keep stocked in our pantry that we can use that not only are easy to use, but are also very versatile and can be items that we can use to cook with our kiddos. And one of the first things I think of is oats. And I have a couple of different varieties of oats here. And I don't know, what kind of oats do you like to cook with?
I just buy the rolled oats.
Rolled oats, okay. Yeah, that would be this variety right here. The rolled oats are old-fashioned oats, which are oats that have been par cooked and then rolled flat. Whereas the quick oats are basically the same as the rolled oats or traditional oats. They've just been cut a little bit smaller so that they cook faster.
Okay.
Otherwise, they're the same product. But
Uh-huh.
each of them have kind of their own wheelhouse where they work really, really well.
Mhm.
The quick oats I use for a quick oatmeal. I make oatmeal for my kiddos every Sunday morning before church. It's just kind of a Sunday morning tradition that I
Mhm.
have with my kids.
Yeah.
And what's great about oatmeal is that there's not a lot that you can do wrong with it.
Right.
You can't have your kiddos stir it too much.
Uh-huh.
I personally think. And so you can have them help measure out the ingredients, measure out the milk, the water, the oats,
Mhm.
and I add a lot of other things to it. I think I have a link to that recipe on my blog as well, so you can
Yeah.
look that up. Daddy's famous oatmeal, Sunday morning oatmeal. There's a lot of health benefits to oats and oatmeal starting out in the morning. You have the soluble fiber that is good for low cholesterol, and I also add flax meal to mine, so
Oh,
it has
yeah.
some healthy fats
Yeah.
and the insoluble fiber,
Right.
which helps all of us.
Yeah.
And then it's also a great way of in incorporating, like fresh fruits. I'll mash up a banana or have my kiddo mash up a banana
Right.
and stick it in the oatmeal, or
Uh,
add, whatever fresh fruits are available, or jams, jellies, preserves. Again, it's a great way of adding some natural sweeteners into their diet, as opposed to all the, sugary cereals that we
right.
can get from the grocery store.
Right. Right.
So that's a really easy one. And then with the rolled oats, I don't usually use these for making oatmeal in the morning.
Mhm.
I use them for a couple of other things. They're good in baked goods. In fact, both of them are really good in baked goods. The quick oats use a lot in pancakes and muffins and things like that.
Mhm.
But the rolled oats I use for two different purposes. One of them is for making granola, which
Oh, yeah.
granola is really popular. It's really not that hard to make. It's really just a matter of mixing, your oats with basically a syrup of some sort. Usually
Uh-huh.
there's some oil involved, and then a sweetener of some sort, whether it be maple syrup or
Mhm.
honey, or a combination of the two.
Mhm.
And then one extra thing that I like to do to bring out some more of the flavor is toast the oats dry
Oh,
before I actually make the granola, because toasting oats and toasting any grain brings out kind of a natural, like a nuttiness,
mhm.
and just an extra layer of flavor that makes the granola extra extra delicious. And
Yeah.
again, that's something that my kiddos can help me measure out the oats and lay them all flat on the sheet tray so they toast up
Yeah.
really nice and
Yeah.
evenly, and then
Well, and then
stirring the oil and sugar together.
I have this. I don't know if you've ever seen this before with your kids, but if
Oh,
you
okay.
we do this in preschool a lot, where if you have a recipe and you have like 2 cups of flour and then 2 cups of brown sugar or whatever it is, and then when your kid measures it out, once they do it, they could put the X on it. I don't know if you could
I
see that.
like that. Yeah, I do see that. That's nice.
So it's part of their counting.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you go through the recipe, you can keep just marking it off. So they count
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, or this is 1.5 cups of like brown
Yeah.
sugar. And so you're teaching them those measurement skills along
Mm-hmm.
with the science of baking.
Absolutely. And who doesn't love a good checklist?
Right? Who doesn't love it?
There's such a rewarding
So,
feeling that we all get, even as adults, of being able to check things off a list. So
yeah,
yeah, with
yeah,
simple baking items like this, where there's, like you said, there's different measurements. There's teaspoons, there's tablespoons, there's cups and quarts,
yeah,
and I've worked with even adults that don't fully understand what those measurements mean. So again, the earlier
right.
you can get them into the mentality of what these different measurements mean, and be able to see them with things like oats and flour, to have that visual that they can refer to. And there's
And
also some fun things you can do with them too. For example, with making the syrup for granola, you
yeah,
typically have, let's say, your maple syrup and your oil. What's really fun is to pour the oil into the measuring cup first, and then add the maple syrup or the honey, because then you get to talk about things like density and weight,
mhm,
because it's
mhm.
the kid's eyes open wide when when the heavier ingredient drops through the oil down into the bottom of the measuring cup. And then you get to talk about, well, this weighs more than this. And so you get to talk about, density and things like that. So again, more science, more measurement, more really cool things to introduce into our kids' lives, because let's be honest, cooking is so much more than just food. It's math, like you said, it's science, it's chemistry, it's organization, it's problem solving, there's history and culture.
Language and vocabulary, and a lot about learning on worksheets, but cooking really brings learning into that hands-on, experiential kind of way that kids learn the best.
Absolutely. It makes knowledge practical.
And you don't have to worry about when they go to college, they don't know how to cook anything.
Yes, absolutely. Which, I mean, I grew up a very picky eater, which is kind of weird to think about, that I was the kind of kid that when my parents took me to Pizza Hut, I would just eat the croutons off the salad bar. I mean, that's how picky of an eater I was.
Yeah.
And somehow, God worked some different things into my life, and now I love food. Married to a wife who was a missionary kid that lived all over the world, and she had such a vast array of food and cooking experiences that I never got to have. And so now we're introducing our kiddos to all sorts of different foods from around the world. And you mentioned things about picky eaters before. One of the cool things about inviting your kids into the kitchen is that when they have a hand in preparing the dinner, they have a vested interest in trying it, because they help to make it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even necessarily have to touch the ingredients to feel like they've had a hand in it or that they made it. It could be washing the dishes. It could be setting the table. It could be just, maybe even, scrubbing potatoes, or, just washing produce, which all of us are doing now because of, the quarantine and the COVID-19 situation. We're all hopefully being a little bit more careful about what we're bringing into the home and how we're caring for it. And so again, this presents us as parents with so many new opportunities to engage with our kiddos in ways that maybe we didn't feel like we had time to do before, or just didn't make the time to do before. And so no more excuses, folks. It's time to cook with our kids, because there's just so many benefits. We could go on and on about it.
So while we're busy trying to get stuff done, like cooking, the idea is to bring them in to cook with you. So you don't have to fret about wondering where they are, what are they doing, or why are they being so quiet. We can have them there with
I know that thought.
And just giving them those simple tools. And even if you have a baby, say if you have like a 15 or 16 month old, just giving them the pots and the pans, or the buckets and the wooden spoons. It's just them in the kitchen with us is so important.
Because you're familiarizing them with the space, letting them know that it's a comfortable space, it's a safe space, and it's a place where we can be with the people that we love, even if we're not, adding anything productive to the game plan. It could be just banging on a pot or a pan, but you're becoming comfortable with the pots and the pans. You're feeling the feel of that spoon in your hand, which is very much the same as feeling the knife in your hand, and being comfortable with that being kind of an extension of yourself. So yeah, hopefully this has been an opportunity for parents to reinvite themselves into the kitchen, and to reacquaint themselves with this language of cooking and what it can communicate to our young people. And that's what I'm all about. That's what Cookin' with Kibby is about. That's why I have my website. That's why I have the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Sorry, no Snapchat. There's only so many social media accounts I can handle at one time.
Here, I'll pull it up on the screen so people can see it.
Yeah, so for those of you that go to the link that was shared, the cookinwithkibby.com/preschool, if you haven't seen the PDF that I put together with some different kitchen ideas for kids, I can pull that up as well. I've got that right here. So a little PDF that I put together, talking a little bit about how you can incorporate your kiddos into the kitchen, into the cooking process, kid-friendly tasks, just to give you some ideas of things you can do. And then a recipe for overnight oats, which is another thing that I do with the rolled oats. You can do it with quick oats, but I found I don't like the texture as much. So I usually use the rolled or old-fashioned oats for making those. So you can get that PDF by entering your email address here. There's a link to Amazon to find that fun cutting and cooking toy there. And then here's that picture that I was talking to you about a little bit earlier in this program of my kiddos helping me in the kitchen by chopping up the leftover vegetables that would have just gone in the compost bin anyway, and ended up being a really fun and engaging time with my kiddos. And then, of course, a few of my blog posts from recent months, all of which, these were handpicked for your audience because they're all based on how to incorporate our kiddos into the kitchen. Because my firm belief is that life is better when we're cooking together. And hopefully I can be an encouragement to you and to your audience as to how to better do that, how to better incorporate our kiddos into the kitchen, because like I said, it can be very intimidating for a lot of people. And so if there's anything I can do to help them and encourage them in that, I would love to know how I can do that. And one of the ways I can do that is if your audience members, if they go to this website, click on this link here right in the middle. It's a family cooking survey that I put together. It'll take them about 3 or 4 minutes to fill out. It just gives me a little bit more information about your family and the struggles and issues that you're dealing with, so that I can turn around and create content, whether it be podcast episodes or YouTube videos or blogs that specifically answer those particular kitchen questions. That way I know I'm providing something of value to you and your audience.
Great. And so where can they find your podcast?
The Cookin with Kibby podcast is available on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, and Spotify. So if you just look up Cookin with Kibby, that's where you'll find me. I just wrapped up season 1 of the podcast, and I'm already starting to put together some stuff for season 2. A lot of it, the first season has really been about revealing to the public a little bit more about who I am, about the food experiences that I had as a child, and those experiences that helped to make me the person I am today. And in the process of sharing those stories with others, also hoping to inspire other people to create those kind of memories for themselves and for their kiddos as well. And then in season 2, which hopefully will be coming out in the next month or two, really getting even more practical. And again, answering more of those questions that are on the minds and hearts of the people that I'm trying to serve. And a lot of those things are things that I'm discovering for myself as well, as I am teaching my kiddos about food and cooking. What are the things that they are wanting to learn about, and what are the teaching styles that are working really well in getting my kids excited about being in the kitchen with their old man. So hopefully it'll be really practical to you and to your audience to encourage and to help teach you guys this language of cooking, which is more than just cups and quarts and chef's knives. It's about communicating love and value and acceptance to our young people, and we all want to have better ways of communicating that to our kiddos. And like I said, I'm very blessed that I have this language that I know when it comes to food and cooking.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone learned a lot. I know Jessica was on for a bit, and she was commenting all over the place. So cute. I want to know how to do this. And I know she's a preschool teacher.
Awesome.
So she'll probably bring this into her classroom, which is awesome.
Yeah, I love being in the classroom. I actually developed a knife skills course for family and consumer science instructors. It's an online course that a number of FCS instructors at middle school and high school level have purchased and are using in their classrooms to teach them practical knife skills. So I love being an encouragement and a support to our teachers. They have one of the toughest jobs, as all of us know now, because all of us have to be teachers now with all of our kids home from school. So I really appreciate all the hard work that they do, and I consider a real blessing that I get to be able to stand alongside of them and hopefully give them tools that they can better serve their classes. So that's awesome. It's good to hear.
Well, that's great. Well, so Chef Kibby, from your website is
cookinwithkibby.com.
And if you're willing to, I know people are going to watch the replay when their kids are sleeping or, morning or whatever time. If you
jogging on the treadmill.
if you're willing to pop in maybe in the next couple days. And if people have questions, they could post on here and you can help guide them to some resources that you might have.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's enough demand for it, maybe we'll do this again sometime. I'd love to be able to share more of my vast knowledge of food and cooking to, again, get families in the kitchen cooking and eating together, because I believe life is better when we're cooking together.
That is very true. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. You guys take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.